Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to an exciting episode of CSGO News. As always, let's go right into it. Now, first off, our first story today is going to be about Fallen's response to SK Gaming's poaching scandal. If you guys have not seen that, Fallen finally responded to this whole instance just yesterday night. So I'm going to be touching on this for about the first few minutes of this video. I'm going to make it short. I'm going to wrap it up very shortly. Be sure to follow the time markers down below if you guys want to skip past that. But first off, here's Fallen's response. I'm going to shortly summarize it. So a couple points summarizing Fallen's main argument here. First off, he wanted to state that when they were doing email conversations between him and SK Gaming's director, Alex Muller, he said right off the bat, contact our owner, Steve Maeda, and that's what Fallen said. He said that he actually emailed Alex Muller saying contact our owner first, and then they went on anyway, no matter what, whether Alex Muller said yes or no. He didn't say Alex Muller's response to this request of his. They still went on as a team and one coach recruited by SK Gaming to go on and continue these discussions with Alex Muller, no matter what that response was. So kind of a sketchy thing there where Fallen in this article said, oh yeah, we told Alex to reach out to our owner. No matter what he said yes or no to that response, they still continued to interact with Alex Muller ahead of time and still go through with signing the contracts. There was also no mention in this entire article of poaching or pressuring of SK. In fact, Fallen went on later in the article to mention that he was pressured by his own teammates. So it seems like it's been a big flip-flop between, oh my gosh, we were poached and pressured by SK, to now Fallen kind of trying to bail out and say, I was pressured by my teammates, I had no choice here. So we're really not sure who he was pressured by, who he was poached by, but yes, it is apparent that Fallen has made a huge mistake here. Also, a big note in this are the LOIs, the letter of intents that were actually given to LG by their own owners. They re-signed these to extend from, actually it was originally July of 2016, which is coming up pretty soon here. These letter of intents were actually extended all the way to December of this year, 2016, but apparently those are invalid. They're not valid because their owner, Steve Maeda, didn't act on them within a certain time period, a 2-week time period, and so they were invalid and they actually were unbinding. So the fact that SK Gaming reached out to LG and said those letters of intent are not unbinding, they're unbinding, they're not valid, we can actually extend you contracts during this time, the fact that that is true really changes this whole story if that is all certain. So SK could go ahead and actually offer contracts to LG, which they did, and then Luminosity Gaming, their players and one of their coaches went through and signed, which is the big deal here. And then at the end of the article, to sum it all up, Fallen himself admits they made a huge mistake, and this is kind of the final blow to this whole thing, and taking SK's side and the fact they have a really good chance of winning this is Fallen admits to it. They signed 2 contracts with 2 separate organizations, and they were really ill-advised and naive about this whole entire thing. As LG Fallen states it was tortious interference, which is not really going to hold up in a European court depending on where they hold this. In America, it's kind of a whole new ball game how that old legal system works. But again, we're waiting for those emails to be released, and we're also waiting for contact back from Steve Maeda himself, who's not really been involved in this whole process either. And lastly, on a statement from LG's players, Fallen himself included, he says that they were all convinced and told that their contracts with SK Gaming would not be legally binding and they could leave them whenever they wanted if they wanted to do so. Now, they said they were convinced and told this, but yet again, we're waiting on those releases of those contracts and those emails to actually confirm whose side is right in this whole statement. So again, a big old fuss here. I'm not the one to actually talk about this legally, so I will be waiting until next week to actually touch on this again, but I will refer you guys to Thorin's videos. He's in way more in depth than I am, and refer to you also to the articles as well to read up on this yourself. But again, a whole new scandal has come out today with Fallen's response having a lot of holes, a lot of contradictions, so we'll make sure to see what comes out in the next week to actually confirm who is right and who is wrong. And in other news, the other big Brazilian team, not Luminosity Gaming, but actually Temple Storm, has finally replaced their old coach Peacemaker, who's now playing for Liquid, with a Brazilian named Zakk. Zakk actually spent a lot of time bouncing around teams like KD Stars and also 7 War Esports, so not big teams, but KD Stars, one of those teams that actually competed with LG a long time ago before being announced as their Temple Storm head coach. So congrats to Zakk, hope it works out the best for you. And in other big news revolving around E-League, as many of you guys know, it's being hosted here in America in Atlanta, Georgia all summer long, with Group A just finishing this week. We have Group B starting this week, which makes total sense. And we also had analyst MoeTV, otherwise known as Mo Assad. He's actually the general manager for Team Echo Fox. He was tuning in the first week because it was such a heavily North American lineup, 3 of the 4 teams being American teams there. He was only supposed to be there for the first week, then obviously come back when Echo Fox was there, and other American teams in their group play, such as CLG, Optic, all those teams as well. But now apparently his ratings were so good, he might be coming back and staying in Atlanta, Georgia all summer long on the desk. This was actually leaked by his fiance or soon-to-be wife, Dahlia, on Twitter when she said this. So that's awesome. I cannot wait. I actually saw Mo during those few casting, a few of those games. I wasn't able to tune in for all of them, but he did a great job and he had great feedback through the whole community, and I would love to see Thorn and him back on the same desk once again. I cannot wait for them to start fighting. I think it'd be great drama. And again, E-League went so well on TBS with such high numbers. I think we had over 500,000 viewers on TBS during that Friday final, which is breaking records for TBS and really making a shock on the environment for this E-League thing. So congrats to you, Mo. Hopefully you're back on the desk all summer long. Can't wait. And shortly bouncing off that last story, like I said, E-League's been showing on TBS all week long, mainly on Tuesday and Friday. The Friday was the finals. It's going to be that way the whole summer long. Every Friday at 7 to 10 will be the finals going on, and Group B starting this upcoming week. Now, we did have some awesome things happening with record-breaking numbers on TBS, but also some poor showings of the sponsor Buffalo Wild Wings. I bring this up because this is all over CSGO Reddit, as well as Miss Harvey tweeted out this, saying that there was a big problem with the E-League sponsor Buffalo Wild Wings. When they first signed this $2 million sponsorship, they said they'd be showing E-League inside their restaurants, which is a big thing for E-League, obviously. I mean, they're going to still make that $2 million no matter what, but they wanted that exposure inside Buffalo Wild Wings restaurants. And so we had Miss Harvey and also this CSGO Reddit poster saying they walked into a Buffalo Wild Wings, a restaurant. You know, anywhere you are in the world, you have these restaurants slash sports bars, and they usually play sports games. But it was a Friday night, nothing too big going on, maybe some baseball games here and there. But then again, they also said there was no E-League showing on TVs. They had to confront the managers and say, can you put on this channel, TBS? We're watching some video games. And a lot of the managers kind of looked at them in a weird way or with disgust. And this kind of caused a huge eruption on the CSGO Reddit post, as well as Miss Harvey's tweet. More so the CSGO Reddit post, which got over 2,000 upvotes and a lot of replies from even Buffalo Wild Wings employees. And I wanted to touch on this because this is absolutely insane. The kind of feedback that this gaming community has, as together we can form a big alliance and really show them what's up. You know, I mean, it sounds kind of informal to say that, but it was really cool to see the response to this CSGO Reddit post, as you had managers, people in the mail rooms all saying to send stuff in here and they'll listen to you. And hopefully we can get Buffalo Wild Wings to show this more on their TVs. And this is an amazing story to cover. It's really cool to see. So hopefully you guys go check out that Reddit post as well as the tweet and spread the word. I mean, to a certain extent, I definitely understand this. If I were to walk into my local sports bar and say, hey, can you put on some video games for me? I'd love to watch, you know, a video game on TV. They'd give me a weird look, of course. Now, it is such a new scene. It's such a new thing right now. I understand that. But to a certain extent, if I were to walk into a bar and say, can I see the basketball game or the baseball game, and they still gave me that weird look of what the heck, nerd, I would be disgusted. So if you guys are, you know, not big esports fans, but you still see it from that kind of side point, you know, we need to ally together. We have a big group of people behind us. So yes, let's push for this gamer power. Yeah! And last in today's CSGO news, we have Selfless Gaming finally updating their roster. Just yesterday, they got rid of their backup player, Lucky, replaced their backup player, Lucky, with a guy by the name of Uber, who was one of their current players, and he stepped down from their actual roster to their backup position, and they picked up officially a guy by the in-game name of Connor RR93, possibly the lamest in-game name I've heard in a long time, but best of luck to Selfless Gaming, as that will be their new lineup heading into E-League, so best of luck to them. As always, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. Now, I hope you guys weren't offended too much by my standpoint on the whole LG scandal. I mean, I really have a hard time going on LG's side when they were so naive about it, but I will be touching base on this probably the next couple weeks. I really wanted to make an entire video like Thorn did, but I know I'd get torn to bits because, as you guys know, I'm not near as well spoken as Thorn. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this whole thing down in the comment section below. I reply and read every single one. Thank you guys all so much for the support. I'll see you guys all tomorrow with the CSGO News video, and very important, I'll be announcing today's winners of the knife and op redline on tomorrow's video, so look out for that, guys. The giveaway is also on my Twitter. I'm giving away a $50 knife and an op redline to 2 of you guys, lucky winners. I'll be announcing that tomorrow. As always, live, love, laugh a lot. I'll see y'all tomorrow in the CSGO News video. Remember, I like you. Goodbye! So no matter what happens here, I really just want to know the truth, and that is with the Luminosity Gaming players and their actual owner. As you guys know, this whole time, Fallen's been falling back on this thing, literally falling back, and saying, oh, we're so loyal, we felt so bad, we felt so guilty that we left Steve. But at the same time, you weren't loyal. You know, you didn't feel bad because you were signing these contracts with a separate organization, and this is what throws off so many people, because you're playing so many different cards here. At first, you had the LG players, they so wanted to leave. They wanted to actually have their team sold by Steve. They confronted him, and that was when the phase rumor started, that they wanted to sell LG separately. And then Fallen also came out in this article and said, I want to start my own team. At one point in time, he wanted to leave LG again and start his own team, and then he fell back on this new plan to join an organization called SK. And so this whole time he's saying, yes, we wanted to leave, we weren't getting paid, we were so scared of Steve. I mean, there was also rumors that, you know, they were scared of Steve actually withdrawing or withholding their payments for some tournament wins, and at the same time Fallen was saying, we're scared of it, you know, we're so scared of Steve withholding this thing. And then he also goes back and says, well, we knew we were going to get paid, but we were kind of just scared that we wouldn't be paid. He contradicts himself so many times. There are so many obvious problems that the LG players have with their owners, but no one can just come out and say the full truth. I'm waiting for Thorn to release a video on this, and again, it's getting me very heated, but let's get into some more CSGO news stories. I just want the truth for this whole thing to come out, and I don't want to be too biased on this news channel, but hopefully sometime soon in the future I'll touch on those points. Voice crack.